Darling and just look at it and go, oh, okay, no, this company gets this money and this company gets this money and this company gets this money, and I think, and for what?
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be interested to see how Cubby Station is operating, because I just look at some of this stuff and go, why are we doing this?
Well, that's exactly the issue. Is that you have got Covey Station and it still had water in its reservoirs, while the rivers downstream were highly distressed. And I would have thought that if the government had bought that water and flushed the river, they may have actually averted some of those problems. But then why was Menindee Lake drained against advice at the wrong time?
Oh, well, this article implies that that's their real policy, is that Menindee Lakes will no longer be maintained as a lake system.
Yeah.
That it will be it's basically been abandoned.
Yeah.
And because they've moved the water supply from Broken Hill away from it.
Yeah.
When you look at those two things together, you think, oh, okay. So we build a taxpayer-funded pipeline to avoid managing the water in this river system to keep the river alive. We've just basically done what America did to, it must be the Colorado, I think it is, in California.
Yeah.
Where they just took all the water out of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
Well, what they do is they allow it to run downstream to near Mexico, but then by Mexico, the river no longer flows into Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, how wrong's that? A natural river system that ran to the sea through one of your neighbourhood countries.
Yep.
And you take all the water from it.
Well, it works really well.
Yeah, for America.
Yeah. In the same way, there's...
I think it's the Columbus River. They've got like 38 schemes in it.
Yeah.
That collapsed one of the world's largest natural salmon fisheries.
Yep.
That's why, the one up in Alaska that's they've just recently deregulated the gold mining up there. The reason why the reason it was so heavily protected was because the value of a fishery is so high. But they reckon the Columbus and Ohio rivers and stuff like that used to have a similar value.
I look at this stuff and go, it really worries me the level of planning in this stuff, the arrogance and the poor risk assessment. Fiona talked about that with primary industries and energy.
Yeah.
That they would. She talked about the orange roughy fishery.
Yeah.
Where found out that it took them until they were 70 years old to reproduce.
Yeah.
So primary industries just said, well, we'll mine it. When there's no fish left, we'll stop.
It's nuts.
And they were mining it, effectively fishing it, because it was a good fish for things like fish fingers.
Yeah.
And just go, okay, so you can make fish fingers out of nearly anything, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I guess the other thing, though, is that I think is really worrying me is we're not looking at what we're doing, and it's really starting to matter.
Yeah, yeah.
We're operating like...
But, the Australian salmon, which isn't salmon, as most people around the world know, around 1900, they used to be able to walk them up onto the beach because it's a school fish on the south coast. and we fish them